From 1997 and number 141 in the Imprint range is The Boxer, starring Daniel Day-Lewis, Brian Cox, Emma Watson, Ken Scott and a host of other familiar faces. It's a great cast, and this is a tale all about a character who's been in prison for 14 years, arrested when they were like 17, and they were a big prominent, well, could have been a good boxer if they hadn't got kind of stuck in with the IRA and jailed for a period of time. When he gets out, he wants to put his head down. He wants to go back to boxing, he wants to try and fight. But of course, there is all the factions of the IRA around about Belfast at this time that kind of draw him back into the world that he's trying to get away from.
What are you looking at? It's not my fault you got caught. You should have run away.
Of course, there's a kind of love story with Emily Watson, his young girlfriend, when he got put away. And we get Brian Cox as a kind of leader of the IRA who's trying to broker peace and get all the prisoners of war back to him. There's a lot going on here, and I feel that that's the kind of issue with this movie, is it doesn't really know if it wants to be a boxing movie or if it wants to be a kind of about the troubles in Belfast at that time. And I feel as if both of them get a little bit of attention, but neither gets enough of a story. You feel as if Danny, the main character, is someone who is done with the political aspect of his life. He wants to move on with the boxing. Now he's constantly getting pulled back into certain aspects of the political side, but he just wants out. But then we get the boxing side, we get Ken Scott as his trainer, you get that kind of rocky feeling as he's getting trained up for fights, you get to see a couple of boxing bouts, but it never really feels as if it's going the full way. You get a couple of fights and then it just kind of stops in that aspect of it. There's this romance during the middle of it between Emily Watson's and Daniel Day-Lewis character, and again, as compelling as these two actors are, it seemed to be the least kind of interesting aspect of it, because they can't be together because of the political nonsense that's going on. Whenever someone is in prison, they look after the wives to make sure that they're not running away with other men, or they're being strong for their husbands for when they come back.
Are you back for revenge, Danny?
No. No, I'm back for Maggie.
Will she be safe with you?
She'll never be safer.
Emily Watson doesn't love her husband. They had some troubles. He's in jail. She wants to go back to her first love. But because of the political aspects and landscape and the way the people are treated, she isn't allowed to do that. So there's a kind of strange aspect there of these three stories. The love story, the political angle that keeps pulling Danny back, and the boxing angle, and it just feels as if it's kind of scattershot. And it's the first time that I've watched a Jim Sheridan movie where it doesn't feel as if it's got a razor sharp focus. It doesn't know the exact tale it wants to tie. Although these three things are interconnected, again, they just never click 100%. And I think a lot of that aspect is little tropey moments that happen. There's the character of Ken Scott, the drunk who used to be a great boxing trainer, but then hit the drink, and now he's been brought back by Danny.
I tell you the truth now, Danny. I don't want any breakfast. I just want a few shillings for some wine.
And his ending is kind of, for kind of finale for the story, you can kind of see coming a little bit. The love story, you can kind of see what's coming from that as well. And the boxing career is probably the biggest mystery, I would say, because you're never really too sure where that angle is headed or what it's going to do for Danny. Is it just an output for his rage, his anger, his life? I loved a lot of the actors. I loved a lot of the scenes and the situations. But as a cohesive whole, the movie for me was good, but it didn't hit the standards that I've been expecting from the other movies in this box set. And that's not, it sounds like a slight, and it is, I suppose, but when the other 3 movies in this set are just downright fantastic masterpieces, and then you hit one that's just not quite firing in all cylinders, it sticks out a little bit more. The Boxer's a good movie. I loved the boxing scenes that seemed, tense and exciting. I loved Brian Cox as a man who's been doing things for such a period of time and is now trying to get away from that. I loved Ken Scott's alcoholic boxing trainer. He was a fun character. But altogether, the movie's just missing something that's going to keep it all together and make it as great as it possibly should have been. The Boxer, it's interesting, it's a good watch, great performances. It's not one I'm going to go back to again and again. It's not a standout like every other film that I've seen in this box set so far, which has been pretty amazing. I'd love to know your thoughts on The Boxer. Let me know in the comment box below whether you liked it, hated it, somewhere in between. And of course, there's more content up here. You can see more of my stuff. Don't forget to hit the like button below this video. And if you go to the description box, there's a link to Patreon, the membership program, and where you can buy some of my merch. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Man v Film.